So let's talk about the dismissive avoidance ideal partner in a relationship. And we're going to talk about this through the lens of the needs. Now, if you're not familiar with what a dismissive avoidant attachment style is, dismissive avoidants are essentially the partner in relationships who tend to be emotionally unavailable. And part of this comes from the fact that usually there wasn't a lot of emotional availability in the household growing up. And whether there was like this overt neglect or if it was just sort of subtle neglect, specifically of the emotions and having features in the conditioning of a child where it's like the child is taught that if they're expressing emotions too much, they're too sensitive, they're weak, they're shameful, something's wrong with them if they're emotional. If they get a lot of that programming and conditioning, then they're more likely in their adult lives to be somebody who is avoidant, who doesn't want to emotionally bond with other people because they've been taught that it's unsafe, that it's shameful, that it's not okay to express your emotions and share them with others. So we'll usually see that manifest as somebody in their adult lives kind of like pushing people away, wanting to keep people at arm's length, distancing themselves from big commitments, and so on. So if you know somebody like this in your life, or if you think that you might be this way, I want to talk to you about like who the ideal person is to date. But there's also a really important part of this where it's important to do your own healing, do your own inner work if you do have a dismissive avoidant attachment style. So I'm going to actually share a slide here with you and we can go through some of the needs together so you have this like visual representation of it. But dismissive avoidants tend to look for these crucial features in relationships. Now, if you take a look here, you'll see that the major needs of the dismissive avoidant attachment style are outlined, but you can think of your needs as the components of a relationship that allows the relationship to sustain itself. So just like the body has specific needs it has to get met to ensure survival, so does a relationship. If specific needs are not being met between two partners in a relationship, then it's like taking the lifeblood out of a relationship. It really causes the relationship to die off. So when we talk about the needs that a dismissive avoidant has, the biggest needs, first and foremost, are DAs tend to really value their autonomy, their independence, and their freedom. By the way, all of these things are developed through integrated attachment theory, which is a body of work I published back in 2019 that actually overlaps each attachment style with their individual core wounds, their needs, and a whole bunch of their other patterns that include boundaries, emotional patterns, communication patterns, and so on. So, when we look here, we'll see dismissive avoidance. They tend to really value their autonomy, their independence, their freedom, because that's how they learn to soothe growing up. So if they learn to self-soothe through literally taking time and space away from other people who are shaming them for having emotions, who are giving them a hard time, who are criticizing them, who are rejecting their emotions, then they learned, okay, if I take time and space to myself, I can kind of just do my own thing and soothe and feel free and have some relief from that feeling of discomfort when I'm feeling my emotions in the presence of others. And I know it doesn't lead to good outcomes. Another really important thing is dismissive avoidants want to feel appreciated and acknowledged. It's actually quite difficult for dismissive avoidants to really be in a relationship longer term because they tend to want to invest in somebody, but it's like the antithesis of their personality. Like everything in them has been taught to shut down, to hide, to not let themselves really be seen, to fear, this deep, vulnerable emotional connection because they were taught that that part of themselves is bad or unacceptable. And so them showing up and trying to be vulnerable and trying to have discussions and make commitments is really tough on them. And small appreciations or acknowledgement for things goes a really long way. Again, this is not me saying like, don't take accountability as a DA for having this style and do that work. Of course, that's a huge part of healing and relationship success. But these are the things that DAs tend to look for in the ideal partner. They're looking for somebody who will meet these needs. They tend to also really want to feel understood, accepted, and supported. Acceptance and support are huge for dismissive avoidance because growing up, they usually felt a massive lack of these things. They felt like what they were or who they were was not acceptable, especially that emotional or vulnerable part. And they tended to feel really unsupported. Like when they would need something or they had strong emotions and needed to rely on someone or receive care, it felt like there was usually just, a form of that met with neglect. And so receiving support is this like really deep need that dismissive avoidants tend to have, as well as acceptance. Then in relationships, they tend to look for somebody who values harmony and peace, and they really like having their time to decompress. So we'll see dismissive avoidance really look for harmonious relationships. In fact, relationships that are really roller coastery or volatile can cause a dismissive avoidant to feel really shut off and can cause them to have a hard time investing in the relationship because they feel this sense of like, ouch, this relationship hurts. It's hard on me. It's difficult to open up. So we'll see these really important components. By the way, as I'm talking about this, if you hear some of these things within yourself, or you know these things are something that your partner or a loved one struggles with and you want to better understand them, we have a whole dismissive avoidant attachment style reprogramming course. And every single one of our courses, by the way, you can check it out for free for 14 days. You can check out our whole platform for free for 14 days just for the month of February. It's like a limited time thing because it's Valentine's month and it's the month of relationships. So you can use the link below if you want to check out any course that you've been thinking of. If you've watched these videos for a while, it's a really good time to get started. And we guarantee a breakthrough at the end of every single course, like in whatever the topic is, we guarantee like a major, major breakthrough, or we have a full money back guarantee at any time, because of the fact that, this content really works and it really targets the subconscious mind to gain these big insights. So you can check it out if you want to click the link down below. And when you talk about some of these different dynamics, when it comes to harmony, peace, and time to decompress, they're really looking for, somebody in a relationship who, wants to keep things simple, wants to, not have big conflicts. Like those are really important things. And then last but not least, dismissive avoidants really care about a sense of certainty and stability and safety. They can be quite adverse to change because they're usually chronically a little bit out of feeling balanced and regulated. And so they kind of chronically feel this low level stress or anxiety. So anything that causes more stress or more instability or uncertainty can be very disruptive for a dismissive avoidant. So these are the things that they're looking for in terms of their needs, in terms of their, partners and who will meet certain needs. And these tend to go a very, very long way for this style. So I hope this makes sense to you. I hope you enjoyed the slides. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're new to this channel, I put out daily content on YouTube that really touches on a whole bunch of stuff at a high level. I know it feels kind of deep when we dig into it, but if you want like really deep transformation, again, like the courses have a lot more sort of juice in them and can really dig into things and get you like deep, deep insights and really, create these shifts in a fast period of time because of the level of depth and the insight. So anyways, you can check those out for free if you've been thinking about joining and checking things out. And I hope this video really shed some light on the avoidant partner and the things that they're looking for in their partner. And thank you for stopping by and for watching. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this channel, and I will see you in future videos.